Welcome, everyone. Today we have Niall McShane, the author of Responsive Agile Coaching. Welcome, Niall. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, good.
It's great to have you here.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Such a pleasure to have you. So, a while ago, I think it was about last year, sometime maybe 9 months ago, that we had our interview when, we talked about agile coaching and
Yeah.
the stuff that you're going to write in your book. Um, so I was going to ask you, what is responsive agile coaching?
Responsive Agile Coaching. Well, it's a book I've written. It's a model I've designed to answer one question. One question that has been bouncing around Agile coaching circles for a very, very long time. And it's quite simply this. In the face of someone coming asking you for help around ways of working, do you tell them what to do, or do you ask them what they think? it's one of those questions. So if you tell people what to do, they don't necessarily learn and grow. If you're always asking people what they think, then that can be quite frustrating for people,
Yeah.
right? So no one likes the coach that answers every question with a question, well, what do you think?
If I knew, I wouldn't come to you.
Agile coaching is a bit different to normal coaching, right? So we do give advice. We are expected to have a level of expert knowledge. And I wrote the book because people have been arguing since we started talking about professional coaching and how it works in with agile coaching. That question's been bouncing around, and I don't think anyone's really answered it very well. You can't just bolt on professional coaching to a Scrum Master role and expect it to magically work together. So I wrote the book to give us an answer, to give us a model to have conversations, agile coaching conversations, where sometimes you'll give advice and sometimes you will ask your customer or your client what they think and explore deeper conversations around change. So yeah, that's what really it is. It's a simple model built on other people's great work from MIT and Otto Scharmer and the Presencing Institute using Theory U. Theory U's been around for over 15 years, yeah. So picking up on that and applying it to our domain of agile coaching. So that's the book in a nutshell.
Fantastic. So what is agile coaching to you?
It's helping people and groups of people adopt agile ways to work. I'm a very big believer in seeing the behavioural change. We can talk a lot about mindsets, and we can talk a lot about culture, and we can talk a lot about esoteric tacit things. But to me, agile coaching is about the adoption of new ways to work that is readily observable if someone was to walk into a workplace. That's the practice of, they're the outcomes of what we do. Of course, it's always about delivering things of value to customers, and that's why we exist, to get that done in a better, more efficient, more sustainable way, and that's the Agile Coach's mandate. But it must have tangible outcomes that are readily observable. It's not a matter of going in and having general warm and fuzzy conversations that make people feel good, but we don't get things done. Very much about having a done culture to agile coaching. So
yes,
hopefully that answers your question, mate.
So I know, well, yeah, definitely. I know you've done some great work in sports coaching previously as well. What do you think are some analogies, similarities, and differences of agile coaching and sports coaching?
Yeah.
Well, I love sports
Great
coaching.
question.
I want to be like a sports coach. Is that a good thing or not a good thing?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good thing, right? Because sports coaching is about performance. You're either getting the athlete or the team to win or get into the final or not. And having worked at institutes of sport and worked at the elite level up to Olympic level, I was accountable for getting someone into, well, what I used to say is, if I can get you to the final, then you can compete with the best once I've got you, into there, because the athlete needs to own their part of it as well. But, performance and accountability for results. That's certainly the best thing from sports coaching that needs to come out. There's a scoreboard. Are we winning? Are we doing what we're here to do? But look, when I was a sports coach, I certainly didn't have a lot of the more holistic human parts of my coaching repertoire that I have now around some of the stuff you're really passionate about around EI and empathy and some of those more, I suppose, heart-based practices. When I was in my youth, I didn't quite have them as developed as I do now with this grey hair, but yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like lots of wisdom there. Now, so results is a great thing that you mentioned. Well, a lot of times when we coach, as agile coaches, we go there and we talk about processes, agile ways of working and changes in the ways of working. But I like what you mentioned was it's about performance, it's about results. That's what counts. Ahmad Sidki or other agile coaches talk about being agile versus doing agile. It's that being agile and that's showing the delivery that counts. What do you think about that?
Yeah, being agile, I think if you take it in terms of the manifesto and its values and principles, if you were to say, am I being agile? It's the way you carry yourself and the way you execute is so authentic that you're not putting on a show to get an outcome. Okay, so I think being agile is certainly a prerequisite for being seen as a leader in your community or a leader as a practice lead or a chapter lead or an enterprise coach where you're supposed to be leading the way for others in the practice of being an agile coach. I think being agile then becomes extremely important because authenticity is so critical when you're building community. And really that's what senior coaches do. So yes, I'm all about performance. I'm all about outcomes. I'm all about the hard measures of success. But, as I've got older, it has been more around the human elements of empathy and meaning and purpose at work. So for me, being agile is about those values and purpose-based aspects of what we do versus, the results. So they're the tools and techniques and processes to get the job done. We need to know both. So the two need to be there, I think, Arash.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to your book and the model, can you tell our viewers a bit more about the model? You talk about the four things, the four moves, the four motions, and
I've tried to introduce some new language. Lisa Atkins' model is really good from a competency perspective. I think it really was a game changer for us to understand the things we need to be able to do from a competency point of view. But it doesn't explain to you, when do I be a mentor? When do I be a transformation consultant? When do I be a lean agile expert practitioner? When do I be a facilitator? How do I mix and match in the moment? Which one do I use and when? So the model I've put together, the responsive agile coaching model, provides, I suppose, a way for you to understand the needs of your client in the moment and pick and choose the right way to respond. So, for example, if someone comes to you and they've got a real problem and it's simply they don't have the knowledge, and the best way to get the outcome fast that satisfies everybody and is to give the knowledge to your client, then just tell them. So I call that telling or showing. That's one of the moves, right? And I would say 80 to 90% of agile coaching is just telling and showing people how to do agile. That's the process side of it. But there's this, when you're dealing with resistance to change and people who are really not agreeing with what you may be trying to get them to adopt in terms of new ways to work, we need different tools. And that's where I talk about opening and holding the space, which is a facilitation sort of terminology, right? Opening the space between two people as they relate, and then holding back your opinions, your judgments, and your advice and your expertness. That's difficult when we've got into the habit of giving advice.
It's super hard. Sometimes I know exactly what the problem is. I know exactly what the solution is, but just have to bite that tongue and don't say it. Keep it to myself.
We think we do. We think that is the answer.
Absolutely.
That's our ego, right? So
yeah, it may be wrong. We're not we don't know everything.
A lot of the time. The other thing is, Arash, if we're telling all the time and we're doing the change to people, we're not doing it with them. So the responsive agile coaching move of await and then co-create. That the idea of that is let's await, let's make some space and see what comes to us as we're talking with our clients. And then we can, when we see the signals are right, we can start to sprinkle in some of that advice. But we co-create it together with our clients. We don't force it upon them.
Absolutely.
So they're the moves. It's sensing and responding. That's the first move. So we've got to sense our environment before we do anything. And the first thing we should be doing in every coaching conversation, stop and pause and check if you're responding, not reacting. Don't instantly just give an answer because you think it's right. Just take a moment. It could only be for half a second in your own mind. Right, is this going to help the person by me telling them? Or do I need to open up a conversation and help them learn? So there's sense and respond. And then we either go and tell or show them the answer, or open and hold the space for a deeper conversation before we then co-create and then embed the change. So it's a simple model built on Theory U. And I'm just trying to help people navigate conversations. And that's the one thing I learned from my professional coach training, and as I'm sure you did, is navigating through a conversation with another person. You've got to know where you are. What am I trying to do right now? Am I setting a goal? Am I checking their reality? Am I exploring options, or am I finding a way forward here? If you don't know where you are in a conversation, you get lost, and then you're being ineffective. You're not helping your client. And you're not providing value, and you don't get adoption of Agile, which is the end game here, right? Absolutely. So it's really a model to help people navigate Agile coaching conversations.
And it's so easy to get lost, especially in that professional coaching setting. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one more question before we finish. This model, when you started, you talked about, well, when people come and ask for your help, what if they don't ask for help? What if you have been brought in an organization when there is resistance for change and you're kind of an agile salesperson? How will this model be effective in that situation too?
Yeah. I mean, there's difference between coaching and consulting, I suppose. Consulting is about going in around a problem that you've been asked to solve, doing a baseline assessment, providing some suggested recommendations and implementing them. It's a bit different. But coaching and consulting, they overlap quite strongly. There's more telling and showing in consulting, but you do need to sense and then respond. So it's a good question, but if you haven't got sponsorship for change, then you shouldn't be in there, right? You're just setting yourself up to fail. And if you don't have permission to coach, you shouldn't be coaching. So, if you're not sponsored and you don't have permission, then what are you doing there?
Exactly.
That's my short answer.
Absolutely. No, 100% agree with you. Great answer. Okay, thanks so much, Niall. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we finish?
No, book's out on Kindle, so grab yourself a copy, Responsive Agile Coaching. The paperback's coming soon. Check me out on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Thanks for your time, Arash.
Thanks very much, Niall, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Bye for now.